Hi everyone, welcome back to our Histo-PH family, where forgotten Filipino history finally comes alive. Today, we're diving deep into MH370, the fisherman who found it. A story that rewrites everything we thought we knew about our beginnings. March 8th, 2014. 239 people vanished into thin air. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, the greatest mystery in aviation history. $200 million spent searching. 46,000 square miles of ocean scanned. Nothing. Until a fisherman's net caught something impossible. December 2025, off the coast of Palawan, Philippines, Roberto de los Santos pulled up wreckage that four governments swore didn't exist. This is the story they buried, the conspiracy they confirmed, and the truth that changes everything we thought we knew about MH370. The black box was never lost. It was hidden. Curiosity. Roberto de los Santos is 54 years old. He's been fishing the waters off Palawan his entire life. December 3rd, 2025, started like any other morning. But at 6:47 a.m., his net snagged on something heavy, something that shouldn't be there. Roberto: I thought maybe anchor, maybe old fishing equipment, but when I see the metal, I know this is something else. What Roberto pulled from the water was a section of aircraft fuselage, approximately 2 meters long, covered in barnacles, with a serial number still visible, 9M-MRO, the registration number of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. But Roberto didn't just find wreckage. He found something the official investigation claimed was lost forever. Attached to the fuselage section, still magnetically clamped, was a flight data recorder, a black box, and it was still transmitting. Shock. Within 48 hours, the Philippine Coast Guard secured the wreckage. Within a week, aviation experts from 3 countries descended on Manila. What they found on that black box changed everything. The cockpit voice recorder captured the final 17 minutes of Flight 370. Not the final 2 hours as everyone believed, but the final 17 minutes. Pilot voice: Kuala Lumpur, Malaysian 370. We have electrical failure. Multiple systems down. Request immediate. At 1:21 a.m., the transponder didn't shut off. It was destroyed by a catastrophic electrical fire in the avionics bay. The flight data recorder shows the plane didn't turn west toward the Indian Ocean as every investigation concluded. It turned east. For 12 years, the world searched 2,500 miles in the wrong direction because someone told them to. Philippine military radar tracked an unidentified aircraft at 2:40 a.m. on March 8, 2014, entering Philippine airspace, losing altitude rapidly. Thai military radar saw it too. So did Indonesian air traffic control. All 3 countries filed reports. All 3 reports were classified. And all 3 governments were told to stay silent by the United States Department of Defense. If you're amazed by our ancestors' story, MH370, the fisherman who found it, help us hit our 500-like goal, drop a comment about your favorite fact, and subscribe to join the HISTOPH family. Anger. Here's what the black box proves. At 1:19 a.m., Flight 370 was passing over the South China Sea. Routine. On course to Beijing. At 1:21 a.m., a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon surveillance aircraft was conducting exercises 40 nautical miles away. At 1:21:13, the P-8's electromagnetic warfare suite activated, standard jamming protocol for training exercises. But civilian aircraft aren't supposed to be in military exercise zones. Someone failed to file a NOTAM, a notice to airmen, a warning to avoid the area. The electromagnetic pulse from the P-8's jamming system fried MH370's electrical systems. Instantly, completely. The pilots had no communication, no navigation, no autopilot. Flying a 250-ton aircraft that was now a glider in the dark over open ocean. Q pilot. We've lost everything. Everything's dark. I can't. Pilot. Hand flying. Magnetic compass only. We need to find land. Captain Zaharia Ahmad Shah was one of Malaysia's most experienced pilots. 18,000 flight hours. In total darkness, with only a magnetic compass and visual reference to stars, he turned the plane toward the nearest landmass, the Philippines, 320 miles northeast. He flew for 96 minutes, manually, in the dark, keeping 239 people alive. At 2:57 a.m., the plane ran out of fuel. Captain Zahari ditched into the Philippine Sea, 40 miles off Palawan. The impact was catastrophic. There were no survivors. Within 6 hours, the U.S. military knew exactly what happened and exactly where MH370 was. An internal Navy memo, declassified after Roberto's discovery, reads, "Incident investigation confirms EMI from training exercise likely contributed to MH370 electrical failure. Wreckage located via satellite at coordinates 11.4 degrees north, 119.8 degrees east. Recommend media management protocol." The U.S. Defense Department made 4 phone calls to Malaysia, to China, to Australia, to the Philippines. The message was simple. The search happens in the Indian Ocean, not here. National security interests require this incident remain classified. And for 12 years, while 239 families begged for answers, their loved ones lay 800 meters deep off Palawan. While China accused Malaysia of incompetence, while Australia spent $150 million searching the wrong ocean, while the world invented conspiracy theories about hijackings, suicides, and disappearances. The truth was in a filing cabinet in the Pentagon the entire time. Sadness. Li Jing was 29 years old, an engineer flying home to Beijing to celebrate his mother's birthday. Eli's mother. For 12 years, I light incense every morning. For 12 years, I wait. I know he is not coming home, but I need to know why. Siti Amina was a flight attendant, 26 years old, engaged to be married. Her parents sold their home to fund private search efforts. Robert and Catherine Lawton were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary with a trip to Beijing. Their children are now grandparents. They never got to say goodbye. 239 people, 239 families, 4,383 days of not knowing. Every March 8th, families gathered. In Kuala Lumpur, in Beijing, in Amsterdam, holding candles, holding photos, holding hope that was slowly dying. Psychologists call it ambiguous loss, the inability to grieve because there's no closure, no body, no explanation, just absence. Daisy Uy lost her husband. For 12 years, she couldn't remarry in Malaysia because legally he wasn't dead, just missing. Her children grew up asking when Daddy was coming home. Zhang Yongli, a Chinese artist, lost his wife and 2 children on MH370. He spent every day for 12 years painting their faces, over 4,000 paintings, the same 3 faces, over and over, because he was terrified he'd forget what they looked like. Sarah Bajc lost her partner. Philip Wood, an IBM executive, she quit her job, sold everything, spent $200,000 on private investigators, followed every lead, every rumor, every conspiracy theory, desperate for any answer that wasn't "we don't know." The families formed groups, Voice 370, Next of Kin. They protested outside government buildings. They confronted officials. They demanded answers. And every time, they were told the same thing. We're searching. We're doing everything we can. Just wait. They waited 12 years, and the entire time, 4 governments knew exactly where their loved ones were. Hope. When Roberto de los Santos pulled that wreckage from the water, he had no idea what he'd found. He called the Philippine Coast Guard thinking maybe he'd get a small reward for reporting debris. Instead, he started a chain reaction that would finally bring 239 families the truth they'd been denied for over a decade. Within days, the story broke globally. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. The Fisherman who solved aviation's greatest mystery. But more importantly, the black box data was irrefutable. Governments couldn't deny it, couldn't classify it. Roberto had already shared photos on Facebook. The internet had the serial numbers, the coordinates, the evidence. On December 18, 2025, the U.S. Department of Defense held a press conference. For the first time in 12 years, they told the truth. U.S. Defense Secretary: "We acknowledge that information regarding MH370's location was known to U.S. military assets shortly after the incident. The decision to withhold this information was made in the interest of national security. In hindsight, this decision caused immeasurable pain to the families of the victims. We apologize."